Hello, and welcome to the Student Experience podcast, where we will be chatting to members of the University of Suffolk community, giving them the opportunity to share their experience with us. I'm Sam, and I'm a member of the Student Experience team, and in today's episode, we're joined by Mike Thompson, who's the Associate Director of Markting. We discussed his role at the university, the exciting partnership the university has with Ipswich Town Football Club, and advice he has for prospective students considering joining the university. Head over to our Instagram page, links below, for your chance to win an Ipswich Town signed shirt. So, Mike, thanks for joining us today. Would you like to firstly introduce yourself and your role at the university?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Sam and Emily. Appreciate being here. My name is Mike Thompson. I'm Associate Director for Markting, which in the real world means I look after the teams that run marketing, student recruitment and admissions. So 3 really varied functions within the university. I suppose you could boil it all down to the fact what we're trying to do is to stand out from the crowd of other universities to encourage students to join this fantastic University of Suffolk.
Yeah, brilliant. So your role involves the development and delivery of marketing, as you sort of mentioned, student recruitment, plans and activities to grow the university. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a really varied role, which is one of the reasons why I love it so much. It's really, really cool. In terms of what we're trying to do, it's a really competitive market out there. I think there's 166 universities all competing for students out there. So it's really important to try and stand out from the crowd. And at the University of Suffolk, it's about making sure that students who, firstly, they're aware of us, so growing that awareness. Hopefully we're going to come and talk about things like the Ipswich Town partnership, which really helps boost that awareness. And then once we're through the awareness piece, making us actually stand for something and something that's different to other universities. And then we've got the admissions team working away busily in the background that it's like the unsung heroes of the university who do all of the work, a huge amount of work from that team. So mass credit to the admissions team for the work they do in terms of making sure it's a really smooth process for students who are coming in, making sure that the students who join have got everything that they need.
Brilliant. So you mentioned about the Ipswich Town Football Club link that we have. Do you want to chat a bit about that?
Yeah, perfect. So I think the two organisations have come together, and you hear this about the shared values, but it's actually something really, really true with this partnership. I mean, one of the reasons that we wanted to work with Ipswich Town Football Club is we could see a real vision from the club around what they were trying to do for the whole county of Suffolk and beyond. And it's about bringing out the best in that county, which is exactly what the University of Suffolk is trying to do. So we're really aligned with that. Clearly, their promotion to the Premier League has given us that global stage as well, which we didn't know when we first got involved. But obviously that helps us reach a global audience as well. I mean, the Premier League is the biggest league in the world globally. So we get huge eyeballs on what we're doing with the football club, which is quite something globally. We've already done some really exciting stuff with the club, stuff that really helps students as well. And hopefully students are starting to see this as well. We're keen to do more. So, for example, hopefully if you've been in and around Ipswich, as you come out of Ipswich train station and you walk down, you'll see the Sir Ralph Ramsey stand. Hopefully you'll see our fabulous branding on the back of that stand, which, by the way, was all developed by Corey Abbott in the team. So, she's actually a graduate in arts from the University of Suffolk. And she did that. And if you look at the design on that, it's absolutely superb. It sounds, when you say to someone, can we put some signage on the back of a stand? It sounds like an easy job, but wow, that's a big task. And she's really achieved stand out with that, with some real clarity of design. So that's a fabulous piece of work that the team have done. Ticket usage, everyone always asks about that, so I may as well address that straight up front. We do get a small number of tickets. The demand, funnily enough, seems to have gone through the roof since they got in the Premier League. But we allocate that around what we're trying to do with those tickets is predominantly use those tickets for student recruitment, so encouraging new students into the university. And we also use it for rewarding current students as well. So hopefully through the student union, for example, at University of Suffolk, you've been seeing some competitions for students to win tickets to match as well. It's a really limited number of tickets, unfortunately. But we use it for that as well. I think in terms of reach, the other things that's really helpful is the club have massive social media reach through their channels, and we get to post through their channels as well. So, for example, through Instagram recently. They put one of our posts out there, and I think we had about 29,000 views, which is phenomenal in terms of, again, helping grow the University of Suffolk brand. Obviously, I don't know if you saw the graduations recently, but hopefully you've seen Kieran McKenna, who's got his honorary award as well. Again, great story for us as well, and we've worked with that, and he's a super guy, works really well in terms of the values. And then going forwards, I think there's more we want to do. So we already do student placements, for example. So if you're a student here, you get the benefit of an opportunities to go and be placed within Ipswich Town Football Club. We want to do more of that. We're working with the club to try and bring that to life more. We'd also like, we've already got the student union involved in terms of like the football team, for example. I don't know if you saw that, whether either you had the chance, but we ran a competition back in May for students to play on the pitch. Which was quite fun. Did you get a chance to play at all? Did you?
I did. I did sign up, but unfortunately I couldn't because it clashed with some other things I had going on. But I would have loved to have stepped foot on the pitch.
Yeah, same. Maybe next season. Next year.
Yeah, and there will be a play on pitch again at the end of this season, where it's really quite something. Even if you're not a footballer, just to go onto that pitch and see the surroundings. So that was really quite something. And then. I suppose for today, actually, something quite nice. So we get the other opportunities for students. So one of the things that we're going to do through this podcast is somebody out there is going to have the chance to win this, which doesn't come across well on a podcast, but this beautiful first team home shirt signed by the first team squad. So one of your lucky listeners will win that. Which I think do you want to share how you get a chance to do that?
Yes, I think what we're going to look at doing is when we advertise this podcast, we're going to put up an Instagram post about it, so students that like the post, they can then be entered in with a chance to win the shirt, which I think are highly sought after at the moment. So you mentioned a bit about the placements. I know that some of the placement links we have is to do with our sports science courses as well as I think hospitality. So they're different roles that people can get involved in. I guess if people were listening and didn't think I like sports specifically, but the hospitality could be another role.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're trying to expand it sort of across broad than that, because clearly Ipswich Town is an organisation that has everything in terms of their operations, so finance, marketing, everything. And we're keen to try and expand that as well. And obviously this is the first season of the partnership, the first proper season. We came in at the back end of last season, and it takes a little while to get some of these things going. We have those existing placements which are happening, but we want to try and expand. That's one of the things we really want to do, because obviously from a student perspective, it's a great thing to get on your CV that you've done a placement at Ipswich Town Football Club.
Have you worked closely with Mark Ashton then?
Yeah, I mean, Mark definitely oversees everything with the football club, and he's been just speaking to clearly been a breath of fresh air for the football club. It's him who drives the sort of the vision behind the club. It's him who's got the values which he shares around, trying to make people aware of what a great place Suffolk is as well. And he oversees all of the commercial area, which we are working with as well.
Yeah, I know that the university also places some focus on the arts as well. With there's another partnership that the university is known for, working with Brighten the Corners, the local music festival here in Ipswich. So do you think you could tell us a bit more about how that relationship works?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this is fairly early days with it. What we're trying to do is, for the upcoming season with Brighten the Corners, we want to do more with current students than perhaps we've been able to do in the past. So we're just building together. It's a bit too early to reveal what those plans are, but we are trying to put plans in place to make sure that our students are clearly some fantastic events that they put on as a basic. So it'd be great to be able to do more with current students with those events across Ipswich and Suffolk.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as you sort of mentioned as well, for recruitment purposes, it's massively important, especially with our arts provisions, sports provisions as well, and potentially even like physio and things like that. There's so many opportunities out there that we can explore maybe in the future as well. Could you tell us a bit more about sort of any plans that you have coming up for the university that you're excited about, that the marketing team is working on? Yeah,
definitely. So there's loads going on at the moment. We had a good year for recruitment at the Ipswich campus. So you probably have seen some posts on the hub around Ipswich, and we got an increase in students, which was great in September, and is starting to feel more of a buzz around campus as well, which is great. I think students want to meet other students, they want to be around other students, and it's great to feel that buzz in areas. I think one of the big things that we're trying to do at the moment on a marketing side is try and stand for something different to other universities as well, which, if you ask every other person who's working in marketing across universities, it is a real challenge. As I mentioned earlier, there's so many competitors around that, but making sure we do actually stand out from that crowd. So we're running a really interesting campaign, which is led by Simon in the team. At the moment, all around See It Your Way, it's called. So you may have seen some of this. You'll have seen it outside the waterfront in terms of that. You'll see it across digital channels as well. This is all about seeing things from a student perspective. I think historically, if you look at universities, they've been a little bit, we're going to tell you what we've got, rather than seeing things from a student's perspective. So we've done some really interesting films and that. So as a person who's worked in marketing for many years, that's something that excites me. I think for us to be able to stand out with that is quite exciting. Student recruitment team, led by Rosanna. Rosanna, they're doing a great job in terms of school activity. Really busy time for them at the moment because we have the UCAS deadline at the end of January. So Rosanna and the team are out visiting schools, speaking with teachers, speaking with students, having taster days and so on at the university. Had the 2 open days, and thanks to the SU and student ambassadors for getting involved. What a fantastic set of student ambassadors we have, by the way, because they really help bring to life University of Suffolk, and that was really apparent at the open days. And then we've got our admissions team who've clearly drawn a line under last year and now moved straight into recruitment and processing the applications for this year. So, some pretty busy stuff going on at the moment amongst the team.
You sort of touched on it there about the university and how we stand out, but maybe what do you feel are some of the unique selling points to our university for maybe students that are considering joining our university?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd ask students that question rather than me, to be honest with you. That's what we do. We've been out asking students that. Things that we're hearing at the moment from feedback that we're getting is around just from the most basics around the friendliness on campus. Everyone says what a friendly place it is to come to. I think the fact that we are... when people come here, they're surprised. So we know that if we can get people onto our campus, people love it. We have a really high conversion rate of people coming, seeing what we've got, and then they will join us. I think one of the challenges we have is around Suffolk and making people aware of Suffolk. So if you speak to the student recruitment team, when we go further afield, for example, a lot of people, believe it or not, are not necessarily aware of where Ipswich is, so it's like just making that point. And I think it's making it bigger than Ipswich as well. I think the fact that you've got this huge variety around Suffolk. I'm from Suffolk myself. Moved around a lot, moved overseas and stuff, but back in Suffolk, and there's so much to do here. There's a real variety of life. You've got some real good stuff going on sort of around some of the centres like Ipswich, which is growing in terms of culture, like Brighton, the Corners, for example. And then you've got the amazing coast sort of all around Southwold, Aldborough, Felixstowe, all of that stuff. And what a place Felixstowe is as well, by the way, up and coming to when I was a kid, it's really, really up and coming. It's about that message of the destination, I think is important as well. And then when you dig deeper and look at some of the courses that we're offering as well, some really, really good modules and content of those courses. And when students come again, they like to see that. And some of the facilities here, phenomenal. The facilities are just amazing. I think we came first in the east of England for our facilities versus all competitors, which is really quite something for a university like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing that sort of blew me away when I came to Suffolk is the facilities on campus are just amazing. And I think you touched on it a bit there about having a range of courses and a lot of interesting things that students can learn about. So if you were to do a course at the university, what would you pick?
Whoa, that's put me right on the spot.
It has, sorry. Take your time.
Or subject area, maybe.
You don't have to say specific, specific Suffolk course. But
I'm going to throw it back to you first, give myself a bit of thinking time on that, because I actually hadn't considered that one before. So let me go on. You two go first while I think. What are you thinking of, Sam?
So we both actually studied here.
Did you?
But yeah, if you had studied a different course, Sam.
So I studied sports performance analysis here, undergrad and postgrads. But I think I'd say the course that if I studied now I'd be interested in is probably history. Because at the time I was sort of torn between doing sports and history at the university. So yeah, if I was to do it another degree, which you never know, it'd probably be history.
Yeah, so I studied film. but I would be interested in maybe the sort of wildlife, ecology, conservation science course. They've got a really good school trip as well, which is a bonus. But yeah, that's definitely something that would interest me.
Some of the trips on there are phenomenal, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
incredible.
the stories that come back from those, they look absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And that really helps with our marketing as well when potential students can see those. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
Absolutely. Amazing school trip to, I think, South Africa is one of their big trips. Yeah, it's amazing.
Still sitting on the fence because there's so much that I'd be interested in.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because I've always worked in marketing. So it's what I've always done. So you kind of get ingrained within that world of marketing.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I look back, and again, it's about the career that I'd be looking for. And it'd be a totally different career path to take me down. But some of the stuff that we do around sports is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm interested in history, so that would be interesting as well to do. I think from some of the healthcare courses that we offer, when I look at the career prospects with that, again, phenomenal. You know, don't want to say guaranteed, but you're almost guaranteed a job. I love the way that you can come to the University of Suffolk, you can build your network within healthcare, you can formulate your career in healthcare. If you want to stay sort of locally around East Anglia, you've got a career for life almost around that, which I think is amazing around employability stuff.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we've got such a variety of stuff that we offer.
Yeah, and we do quite well on employability as well. At least the statistics say. So it's always a good sign.
That's something that reminded me about talking about the unique selling points of the university, and something that comes up a lot when we speak to students is because some of the courses sort of smaller cohort sizes, they can really get to know their lecturers sort of on a more personal basis, and that can really help with their understanding of the course and asking questions. It's certainly something I felt when I was at the university.
100%. I mean, it's brilliant, right? So you really get that personal relationship going, you know, and people think not just while you're being taught here, but for the future as well. So, you know, I remember chatting with Nigel Ball in arts, and Nigel, we were talking about the football pieces, and it's like talking about Corey, and Corey used to work. She used to be a student here, and she was doing all that. And you start talking about her studies. It's great how you form those relationships with your lecturers, and they almost feel like relationships for life. They go broader than that, and I know the alumni team are working with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we sort of touched on a lot of the positives of the university and what might attract students, but if you have any advice for students who actually will be starting in our next intake, then we'd love to hear it. What sort of advice have you got for students who may be coming to Suffolk?
Wow, I'm conscious that I don't want to talk for too long. It's like I seem to have, because I've got so much to say on that. But yeah, I'll give it, for me personally, what I would say is say yes to everything. So when you first join, even if you've got any wavering of being unsure on shall I go to this, shall I do something, just say yes to everything for the first, few weeks if you can. And then you'll soon work out what you enjoy doing and what you don't do. And by that, what I'm encouraging students to do is to try everything that's on offer, because there is a vast range of things on offer through the University of Suffolk. And I would say just say yes to everything. You'll work out very quickly what you want to carry on with and what you don't, because you'll be really busy if you do say yes to everything to start with. So I think that would be one piece of advice. The other bit I'd say is explore the region. So again, even if you're local and you've come from a local area, just explore the area. So like last summer, I'm from Suffolk, as I mentioned, but I walked from Oldborough to Southwold to Woodbridge, and I'd never done that. It was a long walk, but with some mates from university. It was fantastic. It's just such a beautiful area of the country, and you meet people who come from all over the world who are now visiting Suffolk. It really is a great destination to be. So say yes to everything, explore. Obviously support Ipswich Town Football Club.
Of course.
That'll be my final one.
And I mean, I guess for students, I know students that have accepted can come to them as well, but also students that are considering joining university. I know open days are a great opportunity to learn more about the university, especially the facilities and the lecturers. So, I'm sure you would echo that.
Yeah, 100%. Really, really good to have. And as I said earlier, what we find is when we can get students to come here, we do get a very high proportion of them joining us because they like what they see, which is really encouraging. We've already had 2 open days for this autumn. We've got another 2 coming up next year. First one's in March. And what I'd say on that is, given the people who listen to this, that I'd reference your the student ambassadors again, what a great job they do around the stories that they can tell, because students want to speak with students, and that works really well, and they're great at the open days for that. So thank you to those student ambassadors.
Yeah, absolutely. Am I right in thinking that student ambassadors actually they sort of come within the MCI realm of how that is all sort of managed? It's sort of part of that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Part of that directorate. Yeah, so it comes within the student recruitment team, which sits under me, with Rosanna leading that area. Yeah, absolutely. We've had a good intake for this year as well, and I think the student ambassadors are enjoying it as well. As the feedback I'm getting,
they've always got smiles on their faces.
They've always got smiles on their face, but they seem to enjoy it, and I think it helps boost their confidence. It's also a great thing to do for your own CV as well, from a student. If you're going to be a student ambassador. So yeah, really, really sort of keen to work more with them as well.
And worth noting as well, for maybe some people that are considering being one, they do get paid for their
time
as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so they get paid and it goes on your CV. So really
win-win.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, you spoke about your work being very varied in what it is that you do, and you have so many different responsibilities. But what would you say your average day at work looks like?
Wow, it's really difficult because it is so varied. It really does depend. So it's quite a large team that I'm working with. I think so first thing is clearly making sure that the team sort of are aware of stuff that's going on and are aware of what we're trying to achieve, and sharing how we're getting on in terms of our sort of aims and ambitions and targets, frankly. So making sure, that's across the team, because, we're only going to, sounds really corny, but you're only going to achieve stuff if everyone's behind it, what we're trying to achieve. We're fortunate, we've got a really passionate team who work here at the University of Suffolk, who will fight really hard for the University of Suffolk, which is great. In terms of so that's one thing. I have to do quite a few papers. That's the sort of downside of the job, really. So, writing papers and the formality of all of that stuff. So that's kind of done in between other meetings off the side of the desk and stuff. And the three areas, so for marketing, it's about, as I say, I'll be working with Simon and the team, working with marketing business partners as well, to make sure that we are selling the courses in the best possible way. Working with student recruitment team to make sure that we're in the right schools, for example, and we're targeting the right students. And then for the admissions team, things do go wrong sometimes, and it's about giving the admissions team the support that they need as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a varied role. We've also got a really varied bunch of people. It's a really diverse team as well, which is awesome to work with. I think by that, when I talked earlier on about trying to stand out, that helps bring fresh ideas by having that diversity in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just with all the sort of people and teams that you've listed off there, it's quite clear how collaborative it always has to be, particularly since, even looking at our team, we have our own Instagram page, but then of course, we are still representing the university, which is within the realm of marketing. So it's, as you mentioned, like the marketing business partners as well. It's sort of a way we all stay connected and make sure that we've all been working towards the same vision. It's clearly a really all-encompassing role, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And to your point, I think it's really, really important that it's kind of broader than just a marketing team, if you know what I mean. So it's only going to work when we're working in collaboration with the academic schools, when working in collaboration with the different committees that are going on, and most importantly, working in collaboration with students and getting student stories. I mean, that's something we haven't really talked about, but student stories are so powerful in our marketing. When it's students saying things about the University of Suffolk, it says so much more than us saying it. So
and alumni as well.
Alumni is so important with that. When they can go on and tell a story around how they joined the University of Suffolk, some of the challenges they had, because there are some challenges for every student at university, and then when they go through their careers, how they've progressed and so on. That's really powerful as well.
You mentioned about, your background, and it's been quite varied. You've done a lot of different things. So what was it about this role that attracted you to make that application?
Yeah, so two things really. So passionate about higher education. So, I went through university. My children are going through university. It's I think it's just brilliant. It gives you skills for life. And I'm not talking the academic side necessarily. I'm talking like the other skills that you learn throughout life. I had my my mates from university, we met up in London last weekend, as we do every year at our Christmas do. We made those friends for life. So a passion for university is definitely out there. And then secondly, I just feel we've got a great opportunity with the University of Suffolk because of we're a relatively new university. There's a lot of ambition to do and try new things. And I think there's a real opportunity in this area, some fantastic marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a challenging role though, surely, because I know that, working, it may be for other marketing roles, working in the higher education sector is quite different because, of course, you're not exactly selling a business. You're, selling 3 years to young people, aren't you? So it's got to be a real challenge, hasn't it?
It's a real challenge because it's a big investment financially as well.
Yeah.
So you've got the young people to convince, but also parents, carers, and influencers amongst those young people to convince as well, because there's so many other options as well for students to go to. The sort of the fun challenge really that I really enjoy is, and I've had this wherever I've gone in marketing, mentioned about the career, that everyone can do marketing. Everyone's got an opinion on marketing. So it's lovely. So from putting up, window graphics on the waterfront to running a digital campaign to partnering with Ipswich Town Football Club and doing that partnership with Ipswich Town Football Club, everyone's got an opinion. So it's great that you can convince people and influence people and explain why. Main thing is just make sure it's grounded in insights. So long as, for example, what we're doing is being tested with students and it works with students, that's the voice, and actually everyone else's opinion is an opinion.
It really comes across how much you enjoy your job and the passion you have for it. So what is sort of your favourite aspect of the job?
Yeah, the creativity. So I really enjoy trying to stand out for something different from other universities. And I think we're on a journey with that. I think there's some more we can do. But I think we've started that journey. And I think we can do more for the future to try and stand out with more clarity around what the University of Suffolk stands for. So that's a sort of a big opportunity, but something that I really enjoy doing. A team. So, leading a large team, I enjoy that. Saying a great bunch of people to work with because they've got that passion. You haven't got people in the team who are just coasting along. They've got people who genuinely want to do the best for the University of Suffolk. We've got quite a few people in the team who actually went to the University of Suffolk as well, so they get it and they understand it, which is helpful. But yeah, I'd say probably those two things.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you sort of touched on a lot of the amazing things that MCI are doing, like the big partnerships and sort of the bigger projects. But is there something that you're particularly proud of, during your time at Suffolk that maybe isn't a massive project, or maybe it's just some small challenge that you as a team or you as an individual overcame working here?
I think for the year, and we're approaching Christmas, so everyone reflects, don't they? Start thinking about what's gone wrong, what's gone wrong, what could have been better, and where have we done well. I think it's a team effort, but the whole team was behind the growth that we saw on Ipswich campus. So that 11% growth after a couple of years of decline. I'm really proud of the team for delivering that. I think that's a big achievement for the team doing that, and that it helps for the university, and it helps create that hub for the university as well. So I'd probably say that's the biggest collaborative team effort that we're proud of this year.
Yeah, and I mean the numbers they show the massive work that's been put in, and of course it's clearly paying off. So that's always nice to see.
A lot more to do.
Yeah, of course.
Literally, I mean, the journey has started. It's a huge journey to go on.
Exciting.
A lot more to. It's really exciting. Yeah.
You've mentioned about how amazing the facilities are and the campus generally, with it being by the waterfront. Have you got sort of like a favourite spot on campus that you like to go to?
I need more thinking time again. I'm coming. I'm going to do, don't you? I'm going to chuck it back to you two.
That's
first,
absolutely fine.
And then I'll have an answer.
Okay.
So yeah, go.
Yeah, so I suppose there's a lesser known area behind the arts building that has a pond. It's where we do our composting, which maybe doesn't interest everybody, but it's quite a nice area where there's a lot of wildlife, and there's some signage to tell you what wildlife is around the pond area as well, and it's really nice. So yeah, it's sort of a nice little relaxing spot as well. Yeah, it's very lovely.
A big fan of that as well. I think what I'd say is next to the lovely waterfront, so maybe during the summer, maybe not so much now because it's very windy and colder, but it's, on like a lunch break, it's quite nice to go down there and sort of, have a quick 20 minutes to relax.
I'm with Sam, actually. I'm with Sam on that. It's the waterfront is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had for years, like, it's a really old, battered up old motorboat that we take the kids out on and stuff, and we go up and down the river all well. And I'd sit there sometimes, like yourself, and you just look out and you see some of these amazing motor cruisers and sailing boats and think, one day. That'll never happen, but, there's some amazing stuff going on there. The other bit that I would say is it's not yet here, but I hope, if you said in a year's time the favourite spot, I'm really, really excited about this, is the new Esports building.
Yes.
So, just across from here on Long Street, where we've got, I don't know what you'd call that building at the moment, but probably if you were an estate agent, you'd probably say it's got potential. I'd say politely.
Yeah.
But it has got potential, and it will look amazing when it's done. So it'll be a dedicated facility for esports.
Yeah.
We've started recruiting for that now. We're actually working, I could have said this, with the football club as well, who are really into esports as well.
Wow.
So that will be a big collaboration, global reach with that as well. And we met with the football club last week, actually, to talk about that. I don't know if you've seen that the football club has just employed, they've got a couple of professional esporters themselves.
Oh, wow. I had
So
no
they're
idea.
doing that as well. Who I think one's based in Australia, so truly global. One's got connections to Ipswich and Suffolk as well. So there's a lot we can do there. But I think that will be a phenomenal building as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be state of the art. And, if you want to do esports, this will be the place to come.
I mean, I'm incredibly excited about it. I have massive interest in sort of esports and all things gaming. Yeah, it's always been something I've been super interested in. So when I heard that was sort of coming around, I was so excited about it. I've been like, just waiting to hear more, waiting for the news to come out. So very excited.
Because we're both quite big gamers, so we were thinking, well, if they need like a staffy students like FIFA competition or something, then I'm all in for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
absolutely.
they have the facilities there, definitely. Thing that strikes me with esports as well is I know you love your gaming, but it's so much more than gaming, isn't it? You learn so many business skills, like event management, negotiations, all of the finance that goes behind it, sponsorship deals, all that. I think it's going to be a really, really good course. And Charlie, the course leader on it, who's come in, is new and is fresh. Got lots of ideas on stuff we can do with that.
Brilliant. Yeah, I was looking through the module, sort of the basic module spec that had sort of come out a while ago. And it is really varied. You look at sort of live streaming management, event management, as you said, and business being a massive part of it. It's not just about, even just the sport analysis. It's also about all things that come with the industry, really. So it's really, really interesting.
Maybe that could have been a good answer to the question earlier. So from September, maybe that will be the answer, because it starts in September.
That would be mine.
I think I'm above
Pick
history.
now.
I think I'll go esports then history. To be fair, two very different courses. So we mentioned about university and how it's a great time for students to kind of sort of find themselves and challenge themselves and sort of learn more things about themselves. So if you look at when you were graduated as an undergrad student, how did it sort of change you as a person?
Wow. As a person, I think it's confidence. I think you just grow in confidence because you become more independent. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is to grow in confidence that we get. I think you get more of a rounded perspective on life as well, because you meet so many people from different backgrounds, people from different areas of the world, people from just different upbringings, and it's just phenomenal around that. So you get a much more diverse approach to life, I think, as well. So it broadens, that's a typical thing, it broadens your horizons, definitely. So yeah, I'd probably say that's the big thing. But for me, it was best years of my life. It's phenomenal so far. Still more to come, but so far the best years of my life were at university. So I can't, as I mentioned earlier, I've got such a passion for higher education. I made friends at university who are like family. As I mentioned earlier. So it's a great time.
Yeah. I mean,
what about yourselves?
Go ahead.
For me, probably, confidence, to be fair. Before university, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to come to university, to be fair. But I kind of realised that actually I can do this sort of thing, and growing in confidence. Like, even when it comes to this podcast, like if you'd told me before I started university back in 2017, I'd be doing something like this. I'm like, not in a million years.
Right.
But that confidence is something that comes out with this, and then like actually engaging with students, presenting and pitching ideas. That's I'd say is what I got from it the most.
Yeah, I mean, I think sort of echoing the same thing. A lot of it doesn't, as you sort of mentioned before, doesn't just come from the course and the academic experience, but you learn a lot of life skills. Even if, you're a commuter student, regardless of sort of how you're accessing their education, if you're moving on campus, or if you're, a mature student or anything like that, I think there are so many skills to be learned, not just from your course and from the actual content, but also because you can engage with so many different things as part of university life, whether that be societies or different opportunities that come from the careers team or anything like that. There's so many things that you can get involved with, as you said before. So I think there's endless opportunities to learn new things, completely unrelated to what it is that you're studying as well. I think.
Yeah, and you mentioned the careers team. That gives you such an opportunity where the university has some amazing relationships with some significant local employers. That really does help. Rather than you being in isolation, you're doing it with the support of the University of Suffolk. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're again, to some extent, because we're a smaller university, the careers team are really approachable, and you can arrange a one-to-one meeting, and they can help you with all sorts of things like CV building, LinkedIn, which is really important these days, interview skills, all sorts of different things.
Yeah. It's a lonely old job otherwise, and when you're doing it with the help of significant university behind you and that team, I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, particularly since they support alumni for life, unlike other universities, which maybe limit that to 3 to 5 years after graduation.
Yes.
I think with our university being quite small comparatively to those sort of institutions, we have that opportunity to extend that support. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's definitely more personal, isn't it, than other universities?
100%. I actually got them to look at my LinkedIn last few months as well, and they gave me some tips and that. So as an alumni student, I can advocate for that.
That's really good.
Yeah. So I think a lot of your passion for higher education really shines through, not only in this podcast episode, but in all the things that you sort of have been doing as part of the marketing team in your time here. So, thank you so much. We're sort of coming to our last segment now. Okay. If you'd like to explain that. Sam.
Yeah, so the last question that we ask our guest is what we call answer one, ask one. So what's going to happen, you're going to answer a question from previous guest, and then you're going to pose one to the next guest. Ooh. So the question we've got for our previous guest is, what fills your cup? In terms of what do you do to kind of keep yourself, your well-being and in your health and that sort of thing?
Yeah. So coffee would be the answer. Sorry, but I'm a coffee addict. I absolutely love my coffee. But on a more serious note, I mean, for health and well-being, I find physical exercise for me works. I've tried all sorts of things. Just gentle, very gentle running. So I love park run, for example. Yeah. And we've got fortunate again around Suffolk that we've got some amazing locations. I don't know if you've tried park run at all. It's like this 5K run every Saturday.
Yeah, I know about it.
I've not tried park run.
I've got a little West. You're going to wish you hadn't asked now, because I've got a little West Highland Terrier, Henry, who's 10 years old, and he still runs park run with me. We've done over 300 park runs now, so it's like a big thing on a Saturday morning.
Brilliant.
And it just clears your mind for the rest of the weekend. You've had your hard working week, and that Saturday morning, it's lovely.
Yeah.
De-stress moment. It's lovely.
Great. You mentioned about the Ipswich Town connection. Are you an Ipswich Town fan?
Yeah, believe it or not. So as a kid, I mentioned. So I went to Holbrook High School, which is just outside of Ipswich, and so my godmother is a lady called Anne Swanson, and Anne is now, I think she's 88. I've probably got that wrong, but there's a reason for me banging on about my godmother. She actually started the family enclosure at Watford Football Club, and it was the first football club in the country to ever have a family enclosure.
Wow.
Which all came about by the fact that Elton John was the chairman at the time, Graham Taylor was the manager at the time, and she took her kids along to a game at Watford and wrote a letter of complaint to the club. Good on her. Strong person. Yeah, she'd have been great within the SU. She should have been in there. But she wrote that, and basically complained about the experience for kids because, people were swearing. The kids couldn't see. It was a horrible atmosphere and stuff. And they invited her into the club and let us set up a little small segment. And then, cut a long story short, 2 years ago, she's the first female in football to have a football stand named after her. So the Anne Swanson stand is at Vicarage Road, where I think Vicarage Road is still where Watford play. Last December, she very kindly invited me into the director's box at Watford when Ipswich played Watford. Took my daughter and saw all her name up in lights. She's on the front of the programme, so I'm seriously proud of her. But she introduced me to the football club as a kid, and I managed to help them as a 13, 14-year-old. Also had a boss who was proper adult and that, but set up the family enclosure at the football club, and that is still there now. So that family enclosure has grown. They obviously have the foundation and the academy and everything now at the football club, but it all started in that little one area of the stand. So so that's what got me in there. So
that's amazing.
I'll talk a day about Ipswich Town. So
all football clubs have all got those family enclosures now. So that's a real
absolutely.
legacy.
I mean, she was a groundbreaker. So she was interviewed, on Match of the Day back in the day when she was in there. She's a real, in terms of strength of character. I've even said to her about bringing her into the University of Suffolk and doing a little talk, but she's, not as mobile as she was these days. The club, Watford still, interestingly, they still send cars to her and she still drives to matches.
Wow.
She still, I think she took, 3 or 4 coach loads of kids she took to a game at Wigan Athletic with Watford, and she was in charge of that again. So she's still got this big thing about child-friendly atmosphere. If anyone is misbehaving at a football ground, she will be up to
I bet. I bet.
When you go to Watford, do not misbehave. Do not shout anything that you wouldn't want your own kids to hear, because she will tell you off. She's awesome.
I bet.
Yeah, that's an amazing story though. That was, perfect. Cool. So do you have a question that you'd like to ask our next guest? A lot of people.
I would like to know what's the best place in Suffolk and why.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, I like that.
It's good.
It's okay?
Yeah, that's
brilliant.
perfect.
Okay. I'll listen in to see what the answer is.
No.
Well,
What's your... maybe don't give them any clues, actually. Let's wait and see what they say.
Yeah, no, we like it to be
fresh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they can think about it. So that was a really enjoyable chat we've had, and I've certainly learned a lot, and I'm sure the listeners have. And if they want to be in with a chance to win a signed football shirt, then certainly get involved in that. So until next time, it's goodbye from Mike.
Yeah, goodbye, and thanks a lot for having us on. Sam and Emily, loved it. It was really great fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to the Student Experience podcast. If you would like to be a future guest, email studentexperiencesteam@uos.ac.uk or follow the links to our application form through our Brightspace page. You can also reach out to us through our Instagram page @UOS_student experience.